This is the Starlight Express Alumni Podcast.
Hey everyone, my name is Jimmy Lockett. I am a Starlight Express alumni, and my Starlight journey began actually with a show called The Music of Andrew Lloyd Webber, which was a 20-year retrospective of Andrew Lloyd Webber's music. It was a concert with orchestra and great singers, and at the time, Sarah Brightman was the star. So we were doing another one of the most amazing shows I've done. You would be there with a 70-piece orchestra in tuxes, 6 guys, 6 girls, and a star, and we traveled around the world doing Andrew Lloyd Webber music every night. So this was an amazing, amazing thing, and I got to do it in different countries and all that kind of stuff. But I also did the initial test tour. So it was a week in Toronto, and then a week in Vancouver, and then a week in Toronto. And I was, it was what, 89 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Was 80? Did the tour start in 87 or 89? The Starlight tour.
I believe 87, 88. No, 89.
It was 89. It was September 89. I remember because I remember that summer because I was broke. And I was just, I was waiting. I was like, okay, you just got to make it until September, man. Rehearsal starting in September. So anyway, we opened in Vancouver with the first test of the Andrew Lloyd Webber tour. And I had every one of the backup singers had a feature song, and my feature song was "Only You Have the Power Within You" from Starlight Express. I had not done the show, I had not seen the show, but they said, "This is what you're going to sing," and I look at the words and I went, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sing that."
Wow.
That's the truth.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story. I love it. I'm hearing how everyone got to discover at least the beginning of their journey to Starlight. So when did you actually? How did the audition? How did it come about? Did you audition? Did they say, you know what, we got this role, we want you to do it? That's it. Sign on the dotted line. Here's
how it went. I was just psyched to have a job. Right. I wasn't thinking about anything forward from that. It didn't occur to me that all of Really Useful Group was going to be there for the test tour, including Sir Andrew and everyone else. I wasn't even thinking about that. The first night we did the thing, I sang that song. At intermission, Randy Whitescarver, who you know well, the stage manager, Randy was the stage manager of that Andrew Lloyd Webber tour. He walked up to me at intermission and said, "Can you roller skate?" And I was like, no, normally in show business, you say yes to everything. But I had a terrible experience roller skating when I was young. I was just really horrible at it, as you well know. And so I was totally content with, there's some things you're good at and some things you're not. And I'm not good at roller skating. That's okay. I'll be okay. I can go through life like that. I said, no, I can't skate. And the end of that week, the tour was a week long, he walked up to me, handed me a pair of skates, and said, "Learn to skate." True story. Before the audition in New York, they contacted me. They sent Michael Fraley to meet me in Central Park and coach me.
Wow.
On some skating before the audition. Wow. So clearly there was some movement going on that was all behind the scenes. I didn't know, I didn't know about the tour. I hadn't seen the show. I hadn't seen the Broadway show. I'd heard the score. I borrowed the CD from somebody, and I knew what was about it. I knew it was all this heavy skating. So I figured, I'll never do that show. They'll never be, they'll never be me. So I Michael Fraley coached me up, and I went to the audition, and Arlene was there, Arlene Phillips, the director. Well, she had also been the director of, no, she came in later for the Andrew Lloyd Webber tour. There was somebody else directed it first. So that was the first time I met her. And I did the audition for the national tour. And next thing you know, I am the Starlight.
Wow, that is incredible. That's great. I love hearing about this. That's so cool. That's so cool.
I'm sure everybody has a unique story for this.
They do, and I can't wait for you. Everyone has a unique. Reva with her unique story. Even Stephen Skeels and everyone else that I've spoken to. I've spoken to about at this point about 15 alumni already. I've got 15 interviews in the can as of right now.
It's gonna be great, man. This one's gonna work.
Where my goal is to get 100.
Yeah, well, this is gonna be one of those where you're gonna say, I wonder if anybody will do it, and everybody's gonna do it.
And I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. So you got the part. Where were you when they called you? How long was it before they actually called you and said, hey, look, we want you to do this?
Well, it was yet another weird thing. So I was in the cast of the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. The show, we did a week, and then a month later we did a week in Toronto. Then the tour was going to go out worldwide in that coming September. So I had a job. I was playing piano in a bar, trying to survive. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for September. When I got the call, this must have been July of '89, saying it was a weird thing because they told my agent, okay, we are offering him the job as Poppa in Starlight, but it's the same company, Really Useful Group. And they said, we're not firing him from the other tour. We're just offering him a better job. So because they didn't want to, if I didn't do it or couldn't do it, they didn't want to sound like they were firing me, you know. So I actually had two jobs at once.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the truth. But the Andrew Lloyd Webber tour was basically a chorus job with one feature song. Whereas Starlight was obviously a principal role.
Yes.
However, I didn't want to do it. I was like, wait, stand in front of a 70-piece orchestra in a tuxedo, travel around the world, singing these great songs, or get on roller skates, which I'm just not good at.
Interesting dilemma.
Yeah, so I actually didn't want to do it, but my agent, first of all, it was significantly more money. So, I mean, that's a truth. But my agent gave me excellent advice. She said, they, of course, are not going to fire you, but they really want you to do Starlight. The best thing you can do is do what they want you to do this tour, do a good job. And once the tour's over, it'll end someday. And they're gonna, you know, I want to say it correctly, they're gonna acknowledge and remember what you did. Because if you do a good job and you're a good person and you're diligent and, you know, disciplined and all those things, then that's gonna serve you in the end. And that's some of the best advice, honestly, just speaking from the purely show business point of view, for people who aspire. That's some of the best advice I ever got.
That's great.
The tour closed 2 years later, and it was not less than a month before they called me and took me back onto the Andrew Lloyd Webber tour. Went around the world, did that. Then they called me later, and I did Cats, and then called me later, and on and on and on and on. They just kept me working for years and years and years and years.
Wow.
Just because of that advice. So
that's great.
Yeah, that really turned out well for me.
Okay, so that sounds great. So you got the gig, you accepted it. Now, first day of rehearsal. What was the rehearsal process like for you? The experience, the Starlight Express rehearsals for Jimmy Lockett, Poppa. Had a bad experience from roller skating when he was a kid.
So, first of all, a normal rehearsal, as you know, for a show is 4 or 5 weeks. Sometimes less, rarely more. The rehearsal for this was 9 weeks. First 2 weeks, it's just skate school. You know this. You've been there. You did it. it's 2 weeks of pain,
Yeah.
you know, and then you start learning any choreography, any songs, any blocking, any character development, any of that. It's just carpet skating.
Yeah.
And for those of you, I'm sure people have already told what that is. So by the time this one gets there, people who are watching will know what carpet skating is. So I went through that same initiation, indoctrination, induction, military that everyone who has done Starlight did. And it was just, and they said, wear your skates all the time, wear them in the house, wear them, everywhere until you become, super familiar with them. And so I went through that and I discovered something that I was really bad at. I'm an okay athlete. I was never I made the track team and I made the wrestling team, but I was never a star or anything like that. But I was never like the worst one, And I was the worst one from day one to the last day of the tour. I was horrible. And I couldn't figure out why I can't get this. But I was just horrible at skating. Fortunately, my part didn't require the mad skating that the rest of you had to do. Mm-hmm. But by the time years later, I went and did the Vegas tour. This is obviously a jump forward from your questioning, but most of us who did Starlight kept our skates.
Right.
I still have mine to this day, and that's 30 years later, you know what I mean? And I did some other shows and tours, and I would occasionally break those skates out in different cities and go skating because you don't want to lose that skill because it's too hard to get. And that turned out smart too, because a few years later I ended up doing the Vegas tour. So,
wow, that's awesome. So you survived it though?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I survived. The physical pain wasn't, I didn't get like super blisters like a lot of people. I didn't get injured. I wasn't skating at a high enough level to do too much to myself. I was more like trying to stay up and not kill anyone else because I'm a big guy and some of the girls, as you know, are small.
Right.
And especially once we get our costumes, the guys weigh a lot and the women's costumes were a lot lighter. And so one of my big worries, more so than hurting myself, was hurting somebody else. Yeah, I survived it. And eventually we got through to starting the music rehearsals and choreography rehearsals. And usually the way it went was every day we'd come into rehearsal and they'd give the assignments and it would be, okay, so-and-so is working with this group and these guys are working with these guys and these guys are working with so-and-so and Jimmy's with Michael Fraley. Every day, because the music's easy. I learned it in like 3 days. Yeah. And the choreography for me wasn't that much because,
just staging.
Yeah, it was staging. I did the last number choreography, but standing in the back, so the good dancers could be in the front. But really, it was learning to skate and not die and not kill anybody.
Right.
And so that was the big part of the experience for me, from the physical point of view. It didn't hurt me that much. I just couldn't get the skill to a very good level, and I don't think I really ever did. However.
You did an incredible job, incredible Poppa, and the story we were always told, tell the story. You told the story, so it was just amazing to be on the stage with you and just to see you do your thing out there, and I never once ever, I can't remember ever a time just thinking about you on skates. It was just you being Poppa and you just did what you did, and skating, your quality of skating never came to question.
What I did is, there's two sides to what you just said, and thank you very much, and I'm very glad that is the case. Of course, I didn't want other people to think about me on skates and be conscious of it. I know that in the beginning of the first tour, people thought about that. But by the time of the Vegas show, that wasn't the case. What I tried to do was develop a style that would fit that character. You know, he's the old steam train, you know, he's an older guy. So I tried to develop kind of a smooth, bluesy style of movement with my body that would convey the character and not make you think so much about the skating. And then, of course, Arlene and everyone else was very cognizant of my skills and age, and you know, made the choreography work for me. As far as the character and telling the story, I live for that. That's the great thing for me was when I heard, before I did Starlight, when I was given the song and the words were, "Only you have the power within you. Just believe in yourself. The sea will part before you. Stop the rain and turn the tide. If only you use the power within you, needn't beg the world to turn around and help you. If you draw on what you have within you, somewhere deep inside." They said, "That's what you get to sing." I said, "Well, what? I don't care about anything else. What do I have to do?" You know, I get to say that to a couple of thousand people every day. And for me, that was all that it was about. And I meant it every single time I said it.
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's incredible because with, I think it was Steven Skeels especially spoke about that moment when, you know, with Poppa and Rusty, and then he puts the hands up there and it sings that. He talks about that being really a powerful spiritual moment for him. The words, the meaning, and just everything. And you saying that, sharing this, and this is again what many of the alumni have been sharing also. Just this spiritual moments. This it's just beautiful, and you're absolutely right. So I'm glad you shared that. Thank you so much.
It's an interesting thing for a show that I don't think its initial impetus was this deep spiritual thing, but for those of us who did it, whether it was because of the ordeal of getting to do it, whether it was because of just the beauty of the music, whether it was the message, all of it came together to make a unique experience for us, for those of us who did it, you know. And there are experiences between the cast members in the process of rehearsal, backstage and on stage, that made it special in a different way, you know. And a lot of us have been very blessed to do a lot of shows, but this one, you know, it really had a deep, long-term effect on all of us, I believe.
Yeah.
Anybody who did it for a long time.
Yeah. I know Steve say Steven's working on a documentary. He's going to go to London, and so he's getting together with Arlene, and he's also working to get together with Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, and he said he wanted really specifically to ask him about that. Were the intentions of that scene, or what he wrote there, was that the intention to really go deep like that? I say because he said it was just so deep for him. He wants to ask on that. But yet we're not the only ones that felt it, because I shared the same thing. That brought tears to my eyes. I remember one time in Germany, I was sitting and watching the show, and then that sequence came, and it brought tears to my eyes, because just with the lighting, the effects, the lyrics, the words, and just the moment that was created. And you know, we know that a lot of it's intentional. There's a lot of intention behind that.
Sure, that doesn't take away from the effectiveness of it, though. You know, we all understand how to structure an experience. That's our job.
Yes.
You know, to go from point A to point B to point C, and to take people with us, take them on a journey, give them experience. And we try at this moment to achieve this, and this to achieve this. And we do that with the lighting and the sound and the orchestration and all the different tools. And then we as performers try to bring that story with us as we do it, as we carry through the show. So yes, it is created. It's created in every great book and film and movie and cartoon, and that's part of what makes entertainment so special. And we were all fortunate enough to be in a situation where all of those elements really came together in something that you really would not think. That's what, when I first heard of Starlight Express, that was not what I was thinking. I mean, I wasn't in it at the time. I was doing something else, and I heard about it, and I saw some, picture. The video wasn't big then, but I saw pictures of the London set and heard the music, and I didn't think, oh, this is a profound spiritual experience.
Well, that's an interesting point you make, because the same thing with me. And I remember when I was asked to do my first experience was with German production, and that was 87, 88, I guess. And anyway, when I got hired to do it, I was in New York. I had about a month or two before I had to go to Germany to start rehearsals. And I asked them, hey, I don't know the show. I'm familiar with it because I knew Angel Vargas and Garza from Sesame Street. We had that in common. And so I asked, can I go see the show? And they gave me, say you could go anytime, as often as you want. And I went and I saw it 6 times on Broadway. That's where I met Dwight Toppin, actually. He was the first person I met there. And I saw the show, and aside from the spectacle, I really didn't get it.
Right.
And it was very superficial. And then it's a good point you brought that up, because I didn't get I didn't put meaning for myself into it until I experienced doing the show, and then working with others doing the show, going through that experience, and then hearing the words, seeing the moment. And I think that's an important distinction.
Yeah, and I do wonder sometimes, because similarly, the very first time I heard the music, I was actually an understudy in Big River on Broadway, and it came out in London, and somebody had the CD, and I asked if I could borrow it, and they let me take it home. I listened to it that night, and I brought it back, and I wasn't that impressed because the spectacle overwhelmed my perception of the music and the songs, and I really just thought it was okay, another big spectacle Broadway show. No, that's it. I'm sorry, London show, West End show at the time. I knew it was coming to Broadway, but I just knew I would never be in it. So not because I disliked it, but because there was zero chance of me,
Yeah, roller skates and all that, yeah.
Of course, So that was my reaction. But the difference for me, but when I got to it, I already knew that song I was supposed to sing, because I had sung it in the tour.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always about that. It was always, okay, whatever I have to do, if this is what I have to do to get to sing that every night, then I'll do it. Because that's what really matters to me. I didn't know the relationships I would develop and the power of the whole experience, and besides the traveling, the unique, incredible people who have come through Starlight University shows and ended up in alumni, because the talent is unbelievable. And I don't just mean physical talent. It's talent coupled with artistic, musical, creative. I mean, you mentioned Dwight Toppin and Angel Vargas, and you mentioned someone else.
Garza.
And Ron Garza. These are amazingly talented people.
Yeah.
Not just because they can skate and do tricks. And I found that to be the case throughout Starlight. I developed an enormous respect for how much talent there is in the world, as well as, all the other depth and richness that came with doing Starlight Express.
Wow.
And I'll say that, it's deeper than you think.
Yeah, it is. And again, that's of me doing this podcast, I've gotten so much value doing this, hearing the insights from all of you alumni. It's for me. For me, I know a couple of times I said that it seems to be almost like a healing process for me as well.
Wonderful.
So it's been powerful for me. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, very quickly, what was your first opening night like for you, for the first time doing? I mean, you had the experience of first of all, considering the possibility of doing this show, and then having to consider signing a contract to do the show, and then realizing you've signed the contract. Now you're going to have to rehearse for the show. Went through that process, X many of weeks, and then here's opening night. You're on stage. What was those moments like for you? First time doing Poppa, Starlight Express.
It's a good question. I don't know if I've ever really thought about the opening night. It was Cincinnati, because another unusual thing, because they built that set for the tour, and so they had to carry that set. So we rehearsed, in New York, and then we got to Cincinnati 2 weeks in advance before we opened, because we had to work on that set and practice on it. Mm-hmm. Opening night, I can't really say I remember anything specific about it. I probably was focused on two things. Well, probably three things. Don't fall. Don't hurt anybody. Tell the story. If I achieved those three things, then I'm pretty much okay. But I don't really have strong memories of opening night the way I do of the opening night of the ALW tour, which was, like I said, in Toronto, and that was the real change for me. Was Randy walking up to me and saying, "Can you roller skate?"
Wow.
Because all of everything came from that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I appreciate that. Now, of course, Starlight for me was a big part of my life, but it's not my whole life. There's a lot of things that I'm doing that I've done, but it really, I learned a lot doing Starlight, life lessons. So
and we met doing Starlight.
Yeah, and it's funny because I tell people that my Hapkido experiences. A lot of my students know of this gentleman, Jimmy Lockett, because I talk about using the hip, the way we used to just walk across the floor, and certain things that we would do, things that I learned from you that I did not get at that time.
Right.
Wow, resonate, and it's just amazing, and the power of the hips and all that, and so what life lessons can you draw that you learned? I know you mentioned a couple, especially in the beginning, that with the one thing your agent said to you that was powerful, great lesson. But what are there others lessons that you drew? I know you spoke about friendship and working together, teamwork.
Yeah, and I think there are probably quite a lot because I was fortunate enough to do the tour of Starlight, then go do ALW, singing the same song. So I sang that same song for 5 years. Wow. Do you know what I mean? Because I did the tour, and then I did the ALW tour, and then I did 3 years so more than 5 years, because I did almost 3 years in Vegas of the same show. And shows in between. There are, I'm trying to summarize some of the lessons as quickly as I can. And there are things that matter and that I learned. And one of them is your reputation matters. How you conduct yourself day to day. You don't realize what is going on behind you and what people are talking about and how you're viewed and how that affects you both in your career and in your relationships, in terms of people saying, okay, this is a good guy, this person, A, B, C, D, E. And I really, it's not that you don't know that, but when you get into a situation that's that intense, and people are traveling, people are talking, and people know a lot of people, you find out down the road, oh, I heard about you from so-and-so, or, oh, and you hear about other people, good and bad. And you go, oh, okay, I don't want to be that guy, So it really does matter how you handle yourself, how you handle relationships every day, how you come to work and all of that sort of stuff. The biggest is you can't judge the book by its cover. Because if you judge Starlight by the initial impression, you will miss some of the deepest and richest and most profound possible experiences. Because there are people who wouldn't even audition for it, who wouldn't ever do it. And I'm not talking about people who tried and couldn't do it, because it's hard, and some people got hurt and some people just couldn't do it. But there are people who just said, oh, this is ... And they missed what we know. They didn't experience what we did, Yeah. So you really have to, pay. I mean, obviously I owe my agent forever for that advice, but hers was from purely a professional point of view, that this will be good for your career. But there was way, way, way more to it than that. And those things have carried me onward throughout my career.
Wow.
And, I remember once in Vegas, it was just, it was just another night. And we're out there and doing it, and we're doing our job and rolling on and not thinking about it. And you know how close the some of the skating is to the audience, and you're skating right through them and right by them. And we're doing the show, and we're in a race, and we're going by the audience. And at one point, I notice a boy, somewhere between 5 or 6, and he's right at the rail, and he's leaning forward, and he's into it. I mean, he's all the way there. And I'm almost getting choked up thinking about it right now, because as I went flashing by that kid, and I went, that's why I'm doing this. Nothing else matters. That kid is totally invested, and I am here to give him every single thing I have, because this is profound for him. And those kinds of things, and of course, a lot of people, I was very blessed that a lot of people told me that song, was significant for them, So getting to do that and getting to, you don't know what those people are going through that you're performing for. You don't know what you're doing for them. And so once in a while you get fortunate enough somebody gets to tell you, but there's stuff going on that you don't know about. So give it 100% every time.
That's so true. So true. Now, we've been talking, like, you got me really reflecting back again. Like, this is why it's for me so healing, because I've done the show probably a total of 6 contracts,
right?
And I spoke to a couple of us that have broken things, and some of us, our bodies are not the same, and we bled, we cried, and we broke for the show. And but it's only part of our story. There's so many things that we've done, and but we have this in common, and things that we're doing now. So as we wrap this up, out of curiosity, share with everyone, what are your passions now? What are you doing these days? And I know you're in Vegas. You're out in Vegas, and you're doing work out there, and you're an incredible musician. And so share with everyone the work that you're doing, and where you what you're doing now.
So, like you, showbiz and martial arts have always been my 2 tracks. We share that in common completely. And for both of us, martial arts is more than just a hobby. It is a deep, powerful commitment. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do that, practice that, share that and teach that without having to make a living at it. So I have my old dojo in my house, and then now we just moved into a new house and we're building a dojo here. I teach at Boys and Girls Club. I teach for free. I teach kids martial arts for free.
Nice.
I teach neighborhood kids who can't afford it, And a big part of the reason I do it is because when you teach for free, you don't have to make commercial concessions, because if people don't like the way you do it, you can say, well, just go down the road over there,
Oh yeah.
But the real reason is because I got it for free.
Mm-hmm.
When I started in martial arts, they had an activity at my junior high school, and then I got with my teacher, who was at Police Athletic League, which is like a Boys and Girls Club, and I was with him for 30 years for free, never paid a dime.
Wow.
And so I've been doing martial arts since 1967, and I still train every day, and I still teach for every day, and life is good as far as that's concerned. With music, I transitioned more to being like an orchestrator and arranger and all that out here in Vegas. Did that for a good long time, kind of semi-retired now, and I'm writing, because my goal was to be a composer. That was always my dream, was to be the, great symphonic composer or something like that, or, write a Broadway show or something like that. But I guess I can maybe make the first public announcement that I've started writing music for school bands and orchestras. And I just, maybe in the last month, received notice that I'm going to have my first piece published by Alfred Publishing, which is the largest school music publisher in the country, maybe the world. And they are publishing my music, and it's going to go out and get played by kids all over the country.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm really excited. My first piece will come out in the spring catalog next year.
Very nice.
I'm writing music and working out, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
There you go. I love it. Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you if they wanted to connect with you? Maybe another alumni or?
Well, number one, obviously you can do it on Facebook.
Great.
I'm there. You just find me and contact me, and most of the people who are alumni can find me pretty easily. And my email address is based on my character name in Starlight Express. It has been for all these years since I first started doing that.
Too funny. Well,
so getting in touch with me is not that hard if you want to. Just hit me up on Facebook, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and guys, those of you that are watching or listening, right below this audio and video, there are links. I'll put up links so you can connect with Jimmy. Also, you can Google him. You Google him, you can find him, Jimmy Lockett. You'll be able to find him.
And you can find my martial arts website too.
Yeah.
tanrendojo.org, TANRENDOJO.org.
Right. I'm going to have all that right below, everyone. So you want to connect there, find out more about his martial arts and music. I'll share the links below. I've done the research, so it's right below for you. And then, of course, Jimmy will share some photos and some video links, and I'll have it all right below, guys. So, Jimmy, thank you so much for taking this time with me and sharing. And it's great to see you. It's great to speak to you. And I want to officially thank you for taking the time to share the martial arts with me when we were on tour.
Oh yeah, it is so incredible. When I first saw that you were doing what you're doing, and the level that you've taken it to now is just, I just bow my head in respect, because you really truly have taken on the mantle of this thing and of making it a part of your life and carrying it forward into other people's lives. And it is a privilege to have worked with you on that.
I appreciate it. And you're a big part of that. So thank you so much. And I think back to those times we would get into a city, and you did a lot of things behind the scenes. You would get a room for us. You would find you did things that I reflect back now, which I took totally 100% for granted. You know? And it's like, I'm like, gosh, I just want to officially thank you so much.
Oh, listen.
Pouring into me. And when I give back, and I've been doing this now going on 20 years now.
Yeah, I know.
And when I give back and I tell the parents and our students that this is my way of saying thank you to everyone that invested in me, and you're one of them. And so thank you so much for that. The passion I have for martial arts, for giving, for teaching, for training, and just having that martial mindset beyond the kicks, the punches, the trips, the broken arms and all that is because of martial arts like you and who lived the life. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
You don't know how good that makes me feel. That's what every person who teaches martial arts hopes for, that a few will get to the place that you have. So it's glorious to hear that.
Well, I'm going to let you have the last word. What's the last thing you'd like to say to everyone before we sign off?
I am beyond proud and happy to be a Starlight alumni. That's the last thing I want to say. It changed my life. It bought my house. It bought my, and all of that. But beyond that, I am the experiences and the people are something that I will carry to the grave with me. And I mean it absolutely 100%.
Sir, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You have a blessed day, and I'm going to stay connected, and I'll let you know when your show airs, and then look forward to hearing what people will say and what they learn from it. And I will be sharing little teasers. I love it. And but you have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
It's great. Hey, you guys, you got to come out here and stay with us.
I know. I would love that.
Everybody comes to Vegas eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to get some training in with you, and that would be incredible.
Yeah, my new dojo's being built this fall, so I'll let you know when it's ready, and you guys work it out now or 10 years from now. You're always welcome. I
appreciate it, and you got a little home here on the East Coast if you ever want to come. All right, buddy. You take care.
You take care of yourself and your family. It's great to speak with you.
Same here. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this episode of Starlight Express Alumni Podcast. Next week, I will get together with another alumni. Be sure to subscribe. You can subscribe right here on the website at starlightexpress.club. We are definitely on the iTunes and Stitcher, and we're looking to get on the other platforms, so make sure you check there, subscribe there, and stay connected. If you are a Starlight alumni, please be sure to reach out to me if you would like to be on the podcast. Would love to hear your stories and share your story with the Starlight Express fans and other alumni. Look forward to sharing with you next week. Everyone, have a great day.